Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about buying and selling a house at the same time. Can you do it? How do you do it? Where do you start? That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm Jeb Smith, Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage here in Southern California. And before we get started, if you haven't already, do me a favor, subscribe to my channel if you've been watching these videos or find them helpful. It helps me know what people are watching, what they like to see. And if you like the content, hit the like button below as well. Again, it helps me get out to more people. Again, my goal is to educate people buying and selling homes. And, by doing that, it helps me see what people like, and I can do more of that content. But as I mentioned, today we're going to talk about buying and selling a home at the same time. So, if you've been following videos of mine at all, or just following the real estate market for the last number of years, buying a house and selling a house is a pretty normal occurrence, especially at the same time. We've been in a market with very, very tight inventory, which means that there's not a lot of available properties out there for sale. So putting your house on the market and trying to find a house has been a bit of a scary situation. And so we're going to talk about that today, kind of help you navigate a market in low inventory, what you should do. But we're going to start with the question, can you buy and sell a house at the same time? Absolutely. You can definitely do that. But the first place to start before you do anything with regards to putting your house on the market or trying to find the replacement property is meet with an agent, meet with a professional real estate agent, somebody that's full-time that can talk to you about this process, right? They need to guide you through the process, kind of give you the ins and outs, the steps where you should start to get the process moving forward. That should be step number one. Step number two is get pre-approved. Just because you are pre-approved to buy the existing house that you're in now doesn't necessarily mean you're going to qualify for the house that you're looking to purchase. Maybe you make more money, maybe there's a lot of things that are going positive, but maybe there's something that showed up on your credit that you weren't aware of, or some write-off on your taxes that you're not familiar with, where you actually can't qualify for that new house. So you want to make sure that you are qualified before you start the process, because the last thing you want to do, get your house on the market, find a buyer, get really excited to buy something, and then not be in a position to do it. So step number one, talk to a real estate agent, to find out how much your house is going to sell for, so you have an idea of the equity that's coming out of it. And then when you're talking to the lender, if you're using that money for the down payment on the new house or part of that money, they can run those numbers and say, yeah, you absolutely qualify for this amount. And that way you're in a position to buy something, when you're ready. So once you've talk to a realtor and you've been pre-approved, then you're really in a position to put your house on the market. And so, can you, the scary situation, I guess, is putting your house on the market with the idea of buying something and then not really seeing it out there, right? So there's a lot of people in our market right now that want to sell their houses, but they're looking at the inventory out there going, there's not really, I look at it every day, there's not really a lot to buy. What do I do? I don't want to sell my house and then not have anything to purchase. But the caveat to that is that, if something does come on the market that they like, then chances are there might be multiple offers on that property. So if they don't have their property on the market or sold or in escrow or what have you, then they're not really in a position to move forward with that other property that comes on the market. So it's really a catch-22. So the first thing you can do if you're not in a position to qualify for both mortgages, right? Sometimes people are able to put their house on the market and buy the new property without selling their current home. And then in due time, that property will sell and all is good. So, most people aren't in a position to qualify for both mortgages. So that's a question that, is going to come up when you're talking to the lender initially to get pre-approved, to find out if you can qualify for both. Are you comfortable paying another mortgage that hasn't sold? So those are things to think about. But assuming you're not in that position to carry both mortgages, what is the next step? You've got to get your home on the market first. First and foremost, your house needs to be on the market to even put an offer in on a property. Can you put an offer in on a property without your house being on the market? Of course you can, but you're in a much better, stronger negotiating position if your house is at least on the market. And then ideally, that house that you've put on, or your house that's on the market, actually is an escrow, right? So if you're in escrow and you make an offer, a contingent offer on a property, then you're in an even better position. Now, I mentioned contingent offer. What is a contingent offer? A contingent offer is that when you're buying a property, and then you still have something to sell. So you're buying that new up-leg property, but you still have to sell your property in order to purchase that property, because you need the proceeds from property A to be able to qualify for property B. That is a contingent offer. So in contingent offers, you're in a much better, stronger negotiating position if your home is on the market and in escrow before making that offer on the up-leg property. Now, can you do it without your property being in escrow? Of course you can. And there are times when sellers, depending on their goals and what they're trying to accomplish, will accept an offer without being in escrow. But more often than not, sellers won't accept an offer if your house isn't on the market, right? So something to think about there. So if you're in the market to find a unique property in a neighborhood, like let's take, for example, Huntington Beach. There's a lot of people looking for single level homes, and that's not just Huntington Beach, that's everywhere, but single levels are very, very popular, especially with a decent square footage. So let's say that you're looking at a neighborhood for a single level home that has a 3-car garage, and there's nothing in the neighborhood that you want to be in for sale, and one comes on the market. Well, if you're not on the market, if your house isn't listed for sale or in escrow already, you're not really in a position to move forward with that property. So chances are you're going to miss that opportunity. Whereas if your house is on the market, you're in a better position to make an offer. So the question comes up, well, what if I put my house on the market and it sells and I don't find the property that I'm looking for? That's where dealing with a professional agent and putting proper verbiage into the contract to protect you is absolutely necessary, right? So an agent will help guide you through that process. But ideally, or in theory, what you're doing is you're making an offer on property B, if you will, in this case, the up-leg property, contingent upon selling your first property. Or in this case, I said it backwards in that case, but you're actually selling your property contingent upon you actually finding a suitable replacement property, right? So if I have a property on the market, you're a buyer, you want to buy it, I'm good accepting your offer, but it is contingent upon me finding a suitable replacement property. So as long as that language is in there, both parties agree to it, then that protects you, right? So if you don't find a suitable property and close on that up-leg property, then you're not in a position where you have to sell your property. So you just need to make sure that the language is in the contract to protect you, and you really need it from both sides, right? So if you're buying a property, you also need to have it in there that if you don't close on property A, then you don't, or property, if you don't close on the up leg, then you don't need to sell yours, and vice versa. You need to have it where, the seller knows that it's contingent on you selling your property. So that way that if the buyer falls out of escrow for whatever reason, you still have that contingency there that you don't have to move forward with the purchase of the new property, because in which case you would lose your deposit if you couldn't qualify, or you couldn't purchase it, without selling your house. So you just need to make sure the language is there to protect yourself when doing it. Making offers contingent are very common in the market that we're in, just because, there are a lot of people out there that want to sell, but they can't find the right property. So, it's a matter of, just putting yourself in the right position to make an offer if the right property does come up. So, if you have additional questions about this, I know I kind of jumbled over some words there, but hopefully it was clear to understand what I was trying to say. But yes, you can do it. It is very common to do. Don't be scared about putting contingent offers in, because again, they're common. And as a seller, don't be afraid of a contingent offer, right? And a professional agent can guide you through that and help you understand what a contingent offer means. But, as a seller, just know the ins and outs of the other offer. Make sure the buyer is qualified. Make sure you've done your legwork to make sure that, the buyer is truly qualified on your property if you're selling, to give you some confidence there, because, you're in a market where contingent offers are common. So if you're not considering a contingent offer, you may that very well could be the best offer. And if you're not willing to work with it, then you may be giving up money. You may be adding additional time to selling your property, etc. So working with a professional they'll be able to guide you through that process and help you understand it. So if you have additional questions, comment below. Contact me directly. I'm happy to help. Would love the opportunity to help. And as always, I do appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we'll see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.